Hello! It is time for me to make my March dress. And originally I had this one planned, but after enough people tell you that your constellation dress is perfect and you should make a short version of it, you get the hint, and now I have a new plan. A quick recap of my 2025 dress rules. It has to be comfortable, it has to be something I'll actually wear, and it has to be mostly from my stash. Don't mind the weird art. I'm making another version of the popcorn bed for Sky. The fabric I want to use is currently in the washer, so I'm going to take this opportunity to redraft some of the bodice pattern. I have fancy neckline and a couple modifications I want to make, so let's get started. I added a seam allowance worth of magnets to my scissors and cut out the fabric. This is a dark teal stretch velvet from my stash that is not showing up well on camera, but it is quite lovely in person. Also, the side back piece is not in this shot, but it does exist. For the sleeves, I used this partially sheer velvet and lined up the designs from the first sleeve to cut out the second sleeve. I also cut out the collar, which is not the same shape as the original. It's been a busy couple of days. I'm taking a stained glass class and we had the first lesson and it was so much fun. Trying to figure out if I can do it in my own house now. Emmy had an appointment with the specialist surgeon, and her tumor that I didn't tell you about is very unlikely to be cancer, but it does still need to come off. And then Sky lost a couple of things. He's very drugged up right now, but he's doing very well. And I left myself a note saying that I forgot to cut out the all-important pockets, so I'm gonna get on that. I guess I should add rule number 4 being it must have pockets to the list of rules. Time to pin! Or maybe not. Poor Sky. I pinned the side fronts to the center front, and I pinned one side of the back together, but I'm having some trouble pinning here. Hi, buddy. I decided to sew what I had before bothering him. I switched to a stretch needle and also added my walking foot, my preferred way to sew stretch velvet, along with the zigzag stitch. After stitching everything that wasn't a dog bed, I had to move the sleeping puppy, and stitched up the other back seam. I also stitched the center back closed. To line up the pockets, I measured from the underarm on the original dress and pinned the pocket on that same spot and stitched them on. I decided against understitching the pocket because my sample stretched out a lot. I pinned the dress at the sides and around the pockets and stitched them down. I just won bobbin chicken. This is fully stitched. That's all that's left. That was great. Time for the collar. I pinned the center plus seam allowance up to the shoulders. Not sure I like this. I think I'm gonna see if I have enough fabric to recut the sleeves and maybe the collar from the velvet. It's just not working for me. Buddy. I had just enough left for new sleeves. I can't sew anymore, guys, I'm sorry. You being a good boy, Sky. I stitched both of the collars at the shoulder seams and the sleeve underarms. I put the two collars together and pinned and stitched at the neckline. I removed the old collar and stitched the shoulder seams. I pinned the center of the collar to the center of the dress, including seam allowance, and up one side. Now, because I want this to be as good as I can possibly do, I am going to do this in 2 passes. So I'm going to stitch from here to here, and then go back later and stitch here to here. I really thought I was going to have to redo that a couple times. It was great on the first try. All that's left is I have to add the sleeves and then adjust the sleeves because I know that they're a little bit bigger than I need. And then I can't hem the bottom because I don't have matching thread, which means I have to go to Joann's. Oh, do I get my other sleeve back now? Hooray! Hi, buddy. Oh, my sleeve. I guess I will just go with one sleeve. Well, this just makes me sad, but I still got lucky. On our morning walk this morning, someone found a stick and carried it for a while and looked an awful lot like martini glass. I was making soap, so I have goggle lines. I like my eyeballs. It was an indecisive martini glass. Anyway, I'm going to attach the sleeves and hem it because I now have thread. Oops. I pinned and stitched the sleeves in, and it was not terribly exciting, which is fine. Good thing I am already making him his own popcorn bed. I fitted the sleeve to my arm before trimming the excess. This pattern wasn't made for stretch fabric, so I knew I'd have to adjust it later. And when I tried it on earlier, I noticed the pockets were way too low, so I seam ripped them out. I also had fitted the sides earlier, so I trimmed the excess before pinning the pockets back on. And stitching. You good boy, Sky. And ta-da! Functional pockets. And someday I'll clean my mirror. This morning we woke up and we have no heat. Again! But it's okay today because it's gonna be a high of 65, but tomorrow it's supposed to snow. Yay! Anyway, all that's left on this dress is to hem, so I'm gonna get started on that. I leveled the hem and used my new twin stretch needle to hem the skirt and sleeves. Also, it was nap time. Finished the dress, but I kind of want to do like embroidery on the collar, like on the constellation dress, but I don't want this to be themed or tacky, so I'm gonna think about that for a bit. The afternoon walk was so nice, and it was definitely warmer outside than in our house. I did decide to go with embroidery, so I started stitching little daisies and didn't like it. So I then switched to a vine and leaf motif, which I was able to finish on the couch with patient number 2. She did very well in her surgery, and everything is expected to go well, but she's extremely restricted as to what she can do for the next 2 weeks, and basically has to stay in the crate the whole time. Bummer.
Not like that warm out, but I am fairly warm. And sick, again.
I am very happy with how this came out. My March has really not been that great, but you know, I love the dress. I love how it came out. I am really happy with how the embroidery. I'm really happy with how the embroidery came out, and I'm hoping that maybe I'm really hoping I won't have to spend the entire month of April with cones on all of my dogs. Emmy's currently coneless, but that's just because she can't get her incisions, so fair, since she's trapped in a crate for the whole time. My mother-in-law made me some chicken noodle soup, so I'm gonna go have that and probably take another nap, so I don't feel very good. But I will leave you with this clip of Sky really not believing me that the door was open. I have to carry Emmy in and out, so I just left the door open and he did not believe me. Anyway, hopefully I will be talking to you in April with a normal voice and not another sick voice, because I am so over this sick nonsense. Oh, buddy, my nose clocked me really hard.